Okay, so, my girlfriend's been kind of, I guess, bugging me for a bit where she's wanted me to have some sort of show on YouTube, some sort of channel, something. And I guess it started with her, but there's a few other friends that also thought that maybe this is something I should give a shot. So here we are. I guess they think I might be interesting enough, weird enough, odd, interesting. We're just gonna hope interesting enough. So we'll see where this goes. I'm not even sure. I mean, I have some ideas as far as what's going to happen, but we're just gonna do what we can. So there's a few things I wanted to try. I don't know what we're gonna get a chance to explore or do, or I don't know. We're just kind of getting started here, so I guess this is a thing now. Ta-da! Alright, so from here, I guess, the world is our oyster. We can kind of do whatever it is we want, or I want, because, haha, it's my show. I have full creative control. I can do whatever in the world it is that I want. Well, I mean, yeah, as long as the producers allow it. The producers? What do you mean, producers? We're just getting started. We don't have producers and directors and... What do you mean? We do have producers. Okay. So now, exactly what are these producers doing? Apparently the producers are running all the general aspects of the show, like the editing and social media, etc. Okay. Now wait, when you say editing, they're not gonna like make me look stupid or anything, are they? Mike Jack. Hold me closer, tiny Danzig. Bum, bum, bum. Count the headlights on the highway. Okay, good. All right, I hope not. Now wait, when you say producers, like exactly how much creative control over the show do they have? Well, no, they can't make me do that. No, there's no way that they could force me to... Happy? Is this okay? Is this... We are not. We can't do this. No. I don't have room. This is... Yes. Very cute. No, I'm sure the audience would love this, but... No, we're... Okay. But just for a little bit. Okay. And they're going to be suggesting things to do as well? Yeah? Okay. Great. Awesome. Exactly how are they going to be suggesting things like that? Okay. That works for me. All right. So we have producers, apparently. All right. Well, that in mind, I mean, if they're producers, can they at least get me like a cup of coffee or something? Huh? Oh, hey. All right. Not bad. I guess they're not too bad after all. Ooh, it's actually pretty good too. You know, I think on a lot of shows the mug's actually like water, not actual coffee, for them to drink. No. This is good. I'll deal with this. All right, good. Okay. Stop it. I guess let's get this show on the road. Man, so we've got all right, we've got a show. We got some producers. It really needs to be like a show. I feel like we're gonna have to figure out something like a theme or something. What was that? What was that? That's our theme? We have a theme. I was just going to sit in front of the camera and just kind of whatever, but we have a show, we have a theme, we have producers, Okay. I guess this is a thing. All right. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to have lots of different things that I'm going to try to cover here in the show, and it's going to jump around a lot, and that's fine. It's okay, because there's lots of different things that I want to get to that I think you want to get to, and should just be a lot of fun. For instance, aha! All right, so I live in Central Florida, Orlando to be more specific, and here in Florida we have kind of an unofficial mascot. Kind of a superhero that we're deeply ashamed of, and at the same time a little proud of in his creativity. And that superhero is known as Florida Man. So Florida Man, as you may hear in a number of different newscasts, you turn on the TV and you hear, "Oh, Florida Man has," and then something ridiculous. Something just over the top, crazy. You probably heard about the guy that threw an alligator through a drive-through window. It wasn't recent, but if you haven't heard of it, if you don't know about Florida Man, oh, Florida Man's a thing. So, anytime something like that happens, we just call it Florida Man. Now, since I am here in Central Florida, I think it is my utmost duty to tell you about the goings-on of Florida Man. I actually have a couple ones recently. So apparently Florida Man, a Brooksville man, was arrested after throwing pancake batter at a woman. Actually arrested for throwing pancake batter. So he was apparently at his house drunk. There was a woman there. He insulted the woman, threw the cooking pan she was using, and then threw the bowl of pancake batter that she was mixing at her, according to the arrest report. When deputies got to the scene, they found a woman had pancake batter in her hair and on her clothes, as well as slung across the floor of the porch and the screened enclosure, because apparently she was cooking a pancake dinner. I got to admit, breakfast for dinner is oftentimes pretty good. So she was cooking the pancakes in a screened porch out front, and I have to imagine that has to be terrible to get pancake batter out of a screened porch. So it was all across the floor of the porch, in the screen. The gentleman was arrested for felony battery, which I imagine, wouldn't that be pancake battery? Wouldn't it, though? Wouldn't it? So that's one of the most recent instances of Florida Man. Here's another one. This one I kind of like even better, mostly because it doesn't involve violence and just stupidity. So also in Cape Coral, a Florida man was found passed out drunk in a Wendy's drive-thru at 2:30 a.m. in his car, in line for the drive-thru, car and park, passed out, drunk. So it took a while for the police to wake him, and he had trouble putting the car in park. He had trouble even finding his own way out of his car. He had trouble figuring out how to get out of his car. Police found open beer bottles just littering all around his car, as you can imagine. And some of those beer bottles he tried very poorly to kind of shove in his pockets. There's actually a video of this online. If you do enough searching, you can probably find it. To top the whole thing off, guy was 19. 19 years old, passed out drunk in a Wendy's Wendy's drive-thru. Worse. At 2:30 in the morning. Go Florida Man. So, that's the current ballad of the superhero we call Florida Man. And some say that if you listen closely, you can still hear Florida Man's call.
The pancakes looked at my mama crossway!
let's see what we got going up next. Past Florida Man. Aha. All right. So, this is another one that I'm going to try to do. Well, I'm probably not even going to have to try to do it so often. It's just something that's just going to happen. I call it Rich Geeks Out. See, I consider myself a geek, so you don't really have to justify calling yourself a geek. But I will say I love a lot of geeky stuff, like a lot of different things. Everything from geeky TV shows, some geeky movies, video games. I've read a few comic books. I'm not like a crazy comic book nerd or anything, but there's a few. It's funny because mostly the characters draw me to the books rather than the books to the characters. So there's a lot of different stuff that I love. Now, one of the things that I really enjoy, and I kind of take in and listen to on a pretty regular basis, like almost every day, is I gotta say I love podcasts. There's a lot of great podcasts out there. If you're unfamiliar with podcasts, what are you doing? Where have you been? Come back to us. Come back to podcast land. There's lots of good things. There's a lot of great music out there, but sometimes I like listening to not only people's take on things, but sometimes it's a way that I can get some of my new science information stuff. There's a lot of different podcasts that I have listened to. Usually tends to be while I'm going to and coming back from work. Sometimes if it's super early going into work and I just don't want to rock out to some awesome, crazy, high energy music or anything like that, I don't want anything that's quiet that's going to put me to sleep either. Or if I'm coming back from work, maybe I'm just tired and I don't want to listen to music. I just want to have a one-sided conversation with someone. Kind of like this weird one-sided conversation that we're having right now. Because at the moment, you can't really talk back to me. I mean, you can. You go... And I can't hear it. I can't, because this looky device and the listening device and everything like that is not something that works the other way. You can go online, you can type stuff to me, whatever, and eventually I'll get it. But right now, very one-sided. I can hear you screaming for me to shut up. Okay, so a lot of the different podcasts that I have listened to, there's ones I've listened to like Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's a really cool one. I kind of want to listen to more of that. I don't listen as much as I want. Skepticality, Wait, Don't Tell Me, Science Talk, the official podcast of Scientific American. I'm Steve Mirsky. It's been a while since I've listened to that. It might not even be Steve Mirsky anymore. They might not even be doing it anymore. Sometimes I've had to kind of weed down the podcasts that I do listen to. Talk Nerdy to Me with, or I guess it's Talk Nerdy, with Cara Santa Maria. That's another good one. I don't get to listen to quite as much as I'd like, but my big three that I really like, Penn's Sunday School. I have listened to every single Penn's Sunday School, sometimes more than once, because sometimes I'll already have burned through them all, and I just need to listen to him. He is wonderfully ridiculous. He's, of course, Penn from Penn and Teller, the longest headlining act in Las Vegas, which is pretty cool. So, a couple of great magicians, and he's just a cool guy. He's got a lot of crazy stories. Man, a lot of crazy stories. So, that's a lot of fun. I love The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. That's another one that I've listened to. Once I started listening, I've listened to just about every episode. It's pretty rare that I have to skip one because something else has taken my time and I can't go back and listen to it. But usually I stay pretty caught up. They're really, really awesome. I kind of hope I'll probably cover some more of each of those eventually. It'll just kind of work its way into the show, so that'll be fun. But The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, they do some really great science communication, not only of like current stories, they do a really great job of debunking pseudoscience and just crap that doesn't have any evidence to it. I'll get into some of that as well. I don't want to just throw little things out because I can already feel the comment section bubbling like it would just kind of explode about a certain thing that I mentioned and then just completely glossed over. I also really like that they do at the end. They have a few different bits they do. They do like they call "Who's That Noisy?" where they'll play a weird sound, and they found it somewhere, or one of their listeners found it, or something, and you got to figure out what it is. And it's a fun little guessing game. They also have another section that I like quite a bit. I think everybody likes. It's something called Science or Fiction. So the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe tends to be, I want to say, like 5. There's a few of them without going through each of the members, because there's a small part of me that hopes that one of these days, yes, one of these days, one of my heroes out there, one of the people that I watch or that I listen to is gonna watch this, and it's gonna be like the one person that I forget to mention, and I'm gonna feel terrible. So anyway, I love you, and so they do lots of really cool stuff. Sorry, so science fiction, they'll have the main host, Steve. He finds these science stories, usually like 3 or 4, 3 on a good day, because it helps everybody out. And he'll take one of these stories and he'll tweak it just a bit to make it false. But they are all usually pretty crazy sounding. And so the idea is you have to pick which one isn't true, which, science or fiction is why it's called. And it's hard. Oh my God, it's really hard for them. It's crazy hard for me. Like, there are times in which I really have no idea. And there are times that I think I know, and I put in a really good guess, and no, not good. So my percentage is, because everybody plays along at home. You kind of have to play along at home. Periodically, I'll be listening to it with my girlfriend, and she'll say, wait, pause it, after we've heard the 3 stories. Pause it, hold on. Okay, now what do you think? Okay, I'll tell you what I think. Okay, now you can go ahead and play. Because after you guess, each person on the panel will go through their thoughts of each one of the stories, why they think something might be science or fiction, put in their guess, and then the big reveal. So there's a lot of really cool stuff. I get to learn a lot of really neat things about science. When I first started listening to it, it was sometimes difficult to get all the terminology, but I found that the more I listened to it, the more I could learn, kind of pick up on stuff, and I'm really happy with what it's done for me. It's probably done some really great things for some other people. So, thirdly, and last but certainly not least, I really enjoy the Geologic podcast, which is not aptly named, but it kind of is at the same time, because there's no geology whatsoever. None. No rocks. Maybe a little rock, but no, actual rocks. But it's this guy named George Hrab. And so, periodically, some people might call him Geo for short, or I don't know if they actually called him that before he came up with that. I don't know. Apparently I don't listen enough. I do, George. I do listen. And so, the long of the short, it's his logic of the podcast. It's his thing. It's Geo's logic. Geologic. Hey! And that's where that came from. If you listen to listen to his podcast, which please do, it's really cool, then you'll probably hear more of the long or the short of how that came about. But that's cool. So he is a bit of a science communicator. He's a bit of a skeptic. He's a musician. That's kind of what he does, is he's a musician. And he just has this podcast that has now been running for over 600 episodes. He's been doing an episode a week for 600 weeks plus, which is remarkable and ridiculous. Congratulations, George. So, it's a really cool show, and he has lots of different bits that he does as well. He does, I really like how his show is broken up into little pieces. They have everything from little skits he does, like Mortimer, really funny. Some of them are little bits of randomness, like horror scopes, where he goes through imagine writing Imagine you, right now, sitting down at the computer and writing down a horoscope, but like only trying a little bit, but at the same time you want to make it kind of ridiculous. That's what he does. That's one of the bits that he'll do. There's things like the religious moron of the week, which is great, because there's a lot of people doing some really stupid stuff in the name of religion, and he takes it and shines light on it so that you can see, hey, this person, look at this stupid thing. Stupid, sometimes terrible, sometimes a really terrible thing they did, but it's interesting to shine that light on there. God, sometimes it's stories, whether it's like, I always love Indestructible Bastards, Rupert McClanahan's Indestructible Bastards. And it's a story of something that he either found, or sometimes it's sent to him, of someone that has went through something horrible. Something physically just traumatic, terrible, horrible, but somehow has managed to survive. Like, they've gone through something that you think no human should survive it, and well, someone did. Those are really kind of interesting. He does something called Interesting Fauna, where he'll find some really interesting critter out there that does something really interesting, and he'll tell you all about that. So he does lots of really cool things, and I like that. So, now, granted, there's a lot of people that do it, but I almost kind of feel like I'm just gonna take that little thing. As you can see, there's lots of different bits here, and something else that he does that I really like is at the very beginning, he just kind of talks. He just kind of shares himself and his life with you, and it's interesting. If it's really interesting, it's interesting. Sometimes it's some more mundane things, but sometimes it's good to have that one-sided conversation and just hearing someone who's very familiar to you talk. If I end up being that for any of you, that would be kind of really awesome, kind of like beyond my expectations, but that would be cool if that ends up happening. So it's really cool. Thanks, Gio. And so yeah, podcasts are great, and that's probably enough for now. Otherwise, I'm just going to take up a lot of time with this, and that's me geeking out. All right, next up, let's see, we have mailbag. So, this is going to be one of the most interactive parts of the show, where you can email me questions, comments, things you want to see me do, places you want to see me go, any little weird thing that comes across your mind, whether it's normal or ridiculous, email me. And, well, how and where do you do that? Well, you're going to want to send an email to rich@richdoesathing.com. There it is. You could kind of figure it out anyway. But, so yes, rich@richdoesathing.com. It's not terribly complicated, but shoot me an email. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you want. Kind of send me whatever, and we'll see where this weird, wild ride takes us, shall we? So remember, rich@richdoesathing.com. If I had a little banner for the bottom of the screen, maybe someday that'll happen. Maybe I could just take some masking tape or something and just kind of like stick it in the corner or something. Maybe that'll happen. Anyway, so mailbag. Short and sweet this time, but man, I hope this gets weird and crazy later. Alright, what else we got? Ah, yes. Okay. So, there's going to be a lot of weird, wild stuff here. Just kind of just about any random thing that pops into my head, you're going to see it. You're going to hear it. You're going to something. So, one of the things is I play Pokemon Go. You remember that one time where everybody played Pokemon Go? Like, everybody in the world for a few months, at least a couple months, and it dwindled down. Some of you may still have an account still kicking around. If you do still have an account kicking around, let me know, because even if you haven't played in a while, that might be kind of a fun thing. We could become friends, because that's a thing now if you don't know. And if you live in Central Florida, definitely, if you have an old account, let me know. Let me know. Good things can happen. Um, I'm not because of lucky trading. Just you other people that play. No, it's not just lucky trading. So anyway, I digress. So I play Pokemon Go, and I've noticed sometimes some Pokemon are easier to spot. I've been playing a bunch lately. I'm actually level 36, which is one of those, like, if you play casually, you might be like, wow, 36. But if you're like a hardcore player, like, you're not 40 already, bruh? Which 40's the highest. Anyway. So, as I was looking around and I was seeing some of these Pokemon hanging around my neighborhood, and I thought, I should take pictures. I should share this with the public, with my people, with you. So, here goes nothing. I guess, here's the thing. As it turns out, there's a lot of different places that you can actually find Pokemon just during day-to-day life. You might not be looking for them all the time, so sometimes it's really easy to pass by them. However, I managed to find a few that I wanted to share with you. For instance, I actually happened to go to my local library, which is pretty cool. The Orange County Library System has a lot of awesome stuff, and I hope to cover that at some point, but I digress. So just going outside, just there at the sign, there is, what do I see? It's a bookworm. Okay, it's a Caterpie. Caterpie is more of a caterpillar than it is a worm, so maybe not a bookworm, but I'm going to cut him some slack. If he wants to read, he can read. And who else do I see on the other side of the sign? Oh, look, it's a Weedle. It's another Weedle bookworm. How'd you get up there, little Weedle? Alright. So, not only that, when I go inside, check it out. Once again, Weedle on the shelf, checking out some books, doing some reading, maybe some eating on the books. Hopefully he's not eating too many holes in the books, like a traditional bookworm would. Although you look in the graphic novels, and there's Caterpie. Another Caterpie. Apparently they're more colorful. They like the more colorful types of reading? Question mark? Don't know. Maybe he just likes the pictures. So that was cool. Although not everyone at the library was actually a bookworm. They actually had this really cool display of fish up on the wall. Well, let me show you. Feebas. Yeah. So apparently there's a Feebas hanging out. He didn't really look like he was reading so much as he was just enjoying the atmosphere. And honestly, probably the quiet as well. So that was nice. Now there's plenty of other places you could find Pokemon too. I realized I needed some stuff from Home Depot, so I go over there, and as I'm grabbing some hardware that I needed to put some cabinets together, turns out right there in the hardware section with all the nuts, the bolts, the screws, look, we got a little Magnemite. Hanging out, living his best Magnemite life. I thought he was really cool. I decided to take a couple pictures. Apparently I angered him a little bit, but that's okay. I went a little further down. I actually found his big brother, Magneton, and he was... Or he, they? What is it? Is it a he? Is it a they? I don't know. To me, it looks like there's three of them. In any case, they were there too, and they were much happier to see me. They thought everything was wonderful and cool. So then after I got my hardware, I went over to the garden section because I have a few plants that I needed to get and some stuff I had to do. So I went over to the garden section, and as I'm looking around there, check it out. There's a Bulbasaur. Just hanging out by the succulents and the cactus and stuff like that, which I think suits him pretty well. And he was a feisty little guy, so he was checking me out and trying to, I don't know, sniffing for seeds, fertilizer. I'm not sure exactly what a Bulbasaur would eat, but and then he wanted to get a better look, so he hops up on the little counter there, and apparently somehow without managing to hurt any of the plants. After he got his good look around, then he jumped back down, and I think he got tired of me taking pictures of him because he got a little grumpy too, but that's okay. Or maybe he was trying to shout something to his big brother, which actually, over by these pots, and these are some pretty sizable pots, but it's his bigger brother Ivysaur was hanging out. And I think he was trying to hide in the little space between the pots, but he was cool. And not only him, his bigger brother, there was a Venusaur right there. He was huge. He was massive. I think he was done with me bugging him and getting in his space because he got a little cranky as well. But such is the life of a Venusaur, to be cranky in battle. Then I started looking around where all the flowers were, and there was actually a couple of little adorable plant guys. There's the Bellsprout. So Bellsprout was hanging out, and he was just kind of living his best Bellsprout life. And he didn't really see me at first, but then when he did, it was kind of adorable to see the little look on his face. And then after he got down, because I guess he'd seen everything that he wanted to see, there's a Bellossom. I guess I didn't really get the name that wasn't on the name tag. But in any case, also adorable little flower Pokemon. And she was doing a little kind of a little swish back and forth, a little swishy dance, little swish dance in the flowers, and it was adorable. I go further back into the gardening section, and because I thought I heard this weird like sound, and I knew that was an executor. Executor? Okay, I'm not really sure how that's supposed to be pronounced, but anyway, I heard one, so I went back there, and I'm expecting to see this huge, towering, like, plant, egg, tree thing, and I end up seeing this guy, which, I mean, yeah, he's sturdy. He's a sturdy-looking plant, but not as big and tall, as monstrous as I kind of assumed he would be. But there he was, and he was hanging out, and not only was he there, there was the Alolan one. The Alolan Executor, which actually fits us pretty well in Florida, because he's like a big freaking palm tree. I mean, big dude. And look at the look on his face. He's clearly getting plenty of fertilizer, plenty of water. That is a big, happy Pokemon. And he was living his best life. I gotta say that also for any of you who are playing Pokemon Go, you will get a little bit of appreciation at the fact that as I was hanging out with my buddy, the Alolan Executor, that's when I got photobombed. So Smeargle hung out. Funny story, I actually, after taking that picture, I couldn't quite get him. I had to run. I came back like an hour later, and Smeargle was just kind of hanging out right there. So I did manage to catch him, so there's my Smeargle. And I think the Smeargle was buddies with the Alolan Executor because, he was not too happy either. So I just kind of grabbed him and ran. So that was a lot of stuff going on just at the home improvement store where I get plants and hardwares and the things. But even from those mundane places to if you go to a pharmacy. So I visited the nearby pharmacy and wasn't even expecting Pokemon there. But who did I see? That's right, Blissey. So that was kind of great. Makes me think that, all right, they would have to get the rights to the Pokemon stuff, but how cool would it be if there actually was like a costumed character Blissey hanging out at your Walgreens, CVS, Osco drug, wherever it is that you would get your medicine from. And so it's good to see that they're Pokemon friendly anyway, that they like to hang out inside there. Although I gotta say, this was pretty funny. I go outside, and who's hanging out with, I think he thought it was a relative of his. The Alolan Executor is hanging out. Yeah, he was hanging out there as well. And I just kind of let him be. I don't know if he was related to the one that was looking for the Smeargle or not. Not sure. I just kind of let him go. Not only that, you go to the local gym. And who I see at the local gym, of course, Machamp. And so, yep, he was there. He asked me to spot him. Which is weird. He's got like the forearm thing going on, so like he could probably spot himself if he needed to. Like if you were, I guess you work on one set of arms, and then the other set could be there to catch. I don't know. I didn't stick around too terribly long. I gave him a series of high fives, which was actually pretty sweet, and then just went on my way. So okay, the gym, the library. Sometimes even as I was wandering around, I noticed my neighborhood has feral cats. Yeah, and yep, there he is, Meowth. And But they are feral, so you shouldn't go up to them and pet them. You shouldn't try to pet them. You shouldn't try to take their picture because they will get cranky. Last but not least, even going to the mall, of all places. Now, okay, the Florida Mall here, kind of near where I live, is a huge mall. It is pretty massive. There's lots of stuff there, and there is a Crayola experience outside. So as I'm driving by, the last thing I expected is to see this big dude, that Rhyperior, to be hanging around outside. He didn't really look too happy to be there. I'm thinking maybe his trainer had kind of tied him to one of the giant oversized colored pencils or crayons and just kind of left him leashed up there while they were walking around the mall. Not sure, but really, you can find these things anywhere. Well, there's that. So, that was a thing. Hope you enjoyed it. If not, sorry, that's about 10 minutes or so of your life you're not getting back. And a few more minutes of mine that I had to make it. So, hey, it's episode 1. We'll go from there, right? Alright. Now that that's past us. Yes. Alright. So, let's get into why this is even happening. So, you might wonder exactly what's my plan, what's my dream for this thing, what's the dream for this show. And to be completely honest, it wasn't really a dream. This is not something that I wanted desperately or that I dreamt for or, have all these passionate, exact visions for it. Once it started to come together, suddenly I had this platform. Now, I like to consider myself an entertainer. I like to do lots of different things. I'm a magician, and I'll end up showing you some of that. I juggle, I'll probably show you some of that. I do fire performance, I eat fire, breathe fire. Guess what? You'll probably see some of that. I like being this weird and interesting guy. So now I have this platform that I can kind of spread this to you. And so once I realized I had that platform, then it's been kind of really cool to think about. Thinking of that, now where are we going to go? What do I want to do? Okay. Well, really, first, it's going to be weird. It's going to be real weird. It's going to be probably a real fun and interesting weird. And you're going to see things that you never thought you'd see. And I kind of hold that as my primary job in this show. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you do too. Also, I want to explore Central Florida. Those two things almost kind of go hand in hand. So again, I live here in Orlando. I live in Central Florida. We have so much stuff here. Now, I was born here, but I was raised up in New Hampshire, up in Brookline, New Hampshire. And nice place. I love it. I love going back and visiting. There's so many things I like visiting there. And who knows, I might take you up there with me at some point too. But when I moved here, I realized there is just an unbelievable amount of stuff. People will call this the tourist capital of the world. It's not. It's not even in the top 10. I've actually looked at the numbers for this. But it's funny because a lot of people call Central Florida the all sorts of things capital of the world. Say, oh, it's the lightning capital of the world. It's not. It's Rwanda. But we have so much tourist stuff going on here. And everywhere you turn, there is something new to do, to see. There's big, huge giants like theme parks, and there's little stuff. And I want to show you a little bit of everything. Not everybody is from Central Florida. Sometimes it seems like everyone's here. But not everybody lives here, so if I can show you stuff that you haven't seen from there, that's going to make me really happy. Now, even if you're from Central Florida and I show you something that you hadn't even thought of or heard of or anything, and maybe you want to check that out, or maybe you just kind of enjoy the few minutes that I get to share it with you, that's going to make me super happy too. So those are some of the journeys that we're going to take. Now, that being said, we have a metric crap ton of theme parks here in the Orlando area, Central Florida, Lake Buena Vista, whatever you want to call it. We've got the Mouse, Disney World, and they've got, the Magic Kingdom, they've got Epcot, they got Hollywood Studios, they got Animal Kingdom, they got a couple water parks, they got the Typhoon Lagoon, they got the Blizzard Beach, they've got what used to be Downtown Disney, now it's Disney Springs. They have a ton of hotels, all sorts of crazy stuff going on there. We've got Universal Studios, where they have not only the Universal Studios Florida, they have the Islands of Adventure, they have Volcano Bay, they have their own kind of Universal City Walk, all sorts of stuff there. We've got SeaWorld. SeaWorld has a water park. Aquatica. We've got ridiculous stuff there. If you've never heard of the Holy Land experience, there's that. It's hilarious. I hope someday I get to show you. There's Legoland. There's a bajillion theme parks here, and each of them have different things that are really interesting that I would love to share with everybody. Now, I don't actually work in any of the theme parks, but with all those theme parks going on, it's kind of fun to find rumors of stuff that could be happening, because they are always building, they're always expanding, they're always creating new attractions, new parks, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of those rumors with you. And the reason why I say rumor is because I like hearing about stuff so far in advance that it might not even come true. In fact, it probably won't even come true. But I like the idea of the dreaming, the thinking, the scheming, what could be, what might be, and that's really cool. So I'm going to dig around on the internet, just like you could dig around on the internet, and I'm going to find whatever I can, and once in a while I'm going to try to spit some of those back out at you so that we can kind of explore it and dream it together. Maybe we'll get excited about the same things, or disappointed about some of the same things, and yeah, some of it might not come true, but it's fun to dream. Science communication. Man, as you can tell by some of the podcasts I was talking about, I enjoy science. I enjoy the science communication, and there's so much of science that is glossed over in regular media because it takes more than 2 seconds to explain a thing. And I really admire the people that take the time to go through to communicate science and make people understand a little bit more, especially if it's something that's really important to us, if it's something that affects our lives. So I may not do it as often as I want, because I know that takes a lot of time and a lot of research and a lot of packaging to get that together, but it is something that I want to do, and it's something that I want to share with you. And when we do that, hopefully you learn some things, hopefully you understand some things better that maybe you didn't understand before. That would make me really happy. I want to make you laugh. It's also part of being just a weird guy, is if I do something that's just ridiculously silly, just makes you giggle, if it takes just 5-10 seconds on the computer for you to watch, or a minute or whatever, if you're smiling, if you're having a good time, that's why I'm here. And if there's a bunch of you out there that keeps watching and keeps laughing, I'm going to keep doing this. This is a trial. We have no idea where the hell this is going to go. But, yeah, make you laugh, and just tons more. I've got so many ideas for things to share, things that can be recurring bits, everything from what we've done earlier with Florida Man, with Geeking Out, showing all sorts of things. That's really what I'm looking forward to. That's why I'm doing this. And I'd like to thank you for being here on the beginning of this journey with me. All right, so that just about wraps most of this up. Of course, last but not least, oh yes, social media, since apparently the producers have been in charge of that, which I greatly appreciate. So I guess we have a social media presence. Wow, we have a substantial social media presence. That's interesting and fun. Curious to see where this goes. So not only can you find me here on YouTube, thank you, But you can find me at facebook.com/richdoesathing. You can find me at twitter.com/richdoesathing. Follow me there. Instagram.com/richdoesathing. Follow me there. I guess it's a follow. I don't even know. There's so many of these things. I mean, apparently we have the Rich Does a Thing handle at Snapchat. We have it on Pinterest, on Kick, Tinder, Grindr. Wait. On LinkedIn, on MySpace. Wow, MySpace. Is that still going? Apparently we have a name there on MySpace and on what hub? On what hub? Okay, so I guess there's about 1.5 million different ways that you can see me and follow me and contact us. And don't forget, email rich@richdoesathing.com. And you're on this weird and wild journey with me now. So please like, subscribe. Please, please, please subscribe. Subscribing on YouTube actually does a huge amount of help. And follow and subscribe on all those other platforms too, because I assume they'll tell me when that happens. And say the more people watch, the more of this ridiculousness you will end up seeing. I guess this is a thing now. This whole thing is one big thing. All right. Well, I guess that being said, thank you to, of course, my girlfriend Jessie. Thank you to everybody that has helped out. Thank you to my parents who have helped substantially to make this thing happen. Thank you, a big thank you to everybody, Joan and Jerry, who's also helped significantly getting everything going. And yeah, this is a thing. Until next time, I guess I'll see you around.